Tonight on Wrestling News WWE, Brothers at War, the tribal chief shadow growing long and a backstage warning that could break the Yos forever. Jey Uso tells Jimmy to stay out of his business as he follows Roman Reigns' orders. Is this ruthless leadership or the end of family? Stay tuned. This is the moment that will define the next era for the Anoa'i family. Pause. If you love deep wrestling storytelling and shot-by-shot analysis, you're in the right place. Wrestling News WWE for short sting, 2 seconds of logo, Raw wrestling news, cinematic breakdowns, and the best backstage theory craft. Start by laying the groundwork for viewers who missed last week. The Yos have been on knife edge for weeks, with Jey increasingly reflecting Roman's ruthless goal-first mentality and Jimmy pushing back as the emotional anchor. This tension boiled over backstage during last week's Raw and again in the build-up to the recent Battle Royal, with a heated exchange culminating in Jey warning Jimmy to stay out of his business. A line that landed like a thrown gauntlet. Use cutaways to the Raw footage of their exchange, reaction shots, and social media clips that made the moment viral. Sideshow recaps and highlight clips for credibility. Describe the backstage corridor, dimly lit, camera following Jey as he stalks through the area with intent. Jimmy is nearby, defensive, pleading, trying to de-escalate. The script should instruct the camera to capture close-ups. Jey's jaw clenching, Jimmy's hands open as if trying to reason. Cut to Roman Reigns' presence as a looming off-camera influence. Perhaps his music cues or a split shot of him in a different locker room scene which the audience will interpret as pressure. Jey speaks, "You need to stay out of my business." Jimmy responds, confusion, hurt, and a final attempt at brotherly logic. In a scene with Jey walking away, leaving Jimmy shaken, include the original clip's beats as reported in multiple highlight reels for authenticity. YouTube +1 give the exact phrasing cadence you want the talent to use, emphasizing the emotional subtext. Jey's voice is low, clipped, and not yet fully angry. More determined script. "You got to stay on my business, cousin. This is my shot and my path. I won't let anything or anyone throw that away." That line reads as both an order and a farewell. The tonal mix that sells a man who's decided his legacy matters more than his brother's feelings. Explain the cave logic. Roman Reigns has spent years shaping the mentality that legacy must be protected above individual sentiment. Jey has been told to embrace the philosophy as he chases championship glory. Recount moments where Reigns subtly praised Jey or compared him to the tribal chief, and how that praise can warp ambition into isolation. Use reported segments where Reigns lectured or chastised the Yos and how it has framed Jey's evolution. Shift to Jimmy's perspective. A soldier who believes in the family code and looking out for each other and tempering aggression with humanity. Script his inner voice, "I don't want to lose my brother. I'm trying to pull him back before he burns everything down." Show him attempting to reason with Jey, recounting old promises, shared history, and the guilt he carries when Jey pushes him away. This is the emotional anchor the audience will root for. Lay out the narrative stakes. A breakup of the Usos could fracture the Anoa'i lineage, create internal warfare that draws in the likes of Roman Reigns, and produce high-stakes matches with long-term storytelling. Booking-wise, splitting the Usos can elevate multiple single stars but risks emotional backlash if done badly. Explain how the scene we saw is not a throwaway line but a structural pivot from multiple future feuds. Reference recaps that flagged attention as a key narrative thread. Describe the immediate fan reaction. Social platforms exploded with clips and takes. Some fans cheered Jey's hardening, praising his hunger. Others called him cold for attacking family bonds. Split creamed them. Best viral reactions. A fan theory tweet, a heated Reddit thread clip, and a YouTube highlight. Use the cited social clips and recaps as the source for this segment. Reddit +1 deep dive into the psychology, power, identity, and the need for approval. Jey's willingness to follow Roman's orders is part of an arc about seeking approval from the strongest figure in their world. He's modeling himself in the tribal chief, not merely for success, but to feel legitimacy. This moment is about the corrosive nature of authority when mixed with ambition. Tie the analysis to historical examples where protégés step into the mentor's shadow and lose themselves, and how audiences emotionally react. Use Reigns' past interactions with the Usos as context. Wrestle talk, practical direction. Film the quarter sequence handheld for kinetic tension. Use a 50mm lens for shallow depth of field to isolate faces, and record room tone for the locker room. For the confrontation, use 2 cameras, one tight on Jey, one on Jimmy with a roaming Steadicam cam to catch the final walk away. Add directional lighting to cast long shadows and underscore moral ambiguity. For later reaction inserts, film slow-motion cutaways of Roman in his locker looking like a general weighing options. Script for Jey's on-camera promo on Raw the next week. Open with Jey on the ramp, mic in hand, no crowd cheers. He's serious. He says, "I've climbed through fire to get here. I've learned who I can trust. If anyone is going to tell me how to run my life, it won't be anyone standing in my way." The line signals commitment and cold resolve. The camera should cut to Jimmy in the crowd locker room area, hurt but not defeated. Then Roman's reaction shot, a small calculating nod. This segment sells Jey's shift to heelish single-mindedness. Script for Jimmy's response: quieter, more personal. On the next show, Jimmy gets his own mic time backstage. He looks straight into the camera. "I used to fight with Jey because that's what brothers do. We'd brawl, scream, laugh. But we always came back. If this is the path you choose, I won't beg. I'll stand where I have to, but don't mistake silence for surrender." That ambivalence primes the crowd for either a reunion or a tragic split. Right Roman's subtle promo. He doesn't order or dictate on camera. He plants seeds. Script him telling Jey in a private segment, "I made you a promise to make our bloodline respected. Sometimes family needs hard choices, not sentimentality." That line both justifies his manipulative role and explains why Jey listens. It also makes Roman appear as the strategist, content to let his influence do the work rather than overt public commands. Lay out a booking roadmap to turn this backstage warning into a long, satisfying arc. Week 1 tension segment. Jey warns Jimmy. Roman praises Jey privately. Social clips tent wrestling headlines. Week 2. Jimmy interrupts Jey's promo. Heat increases. Minor physicality on a live show. Week 3. Tag match where miscommunication cost them the win. Crowd reaction becomes divided. Week 4. Jey attacks Jimmy after a loss, possibly resulting in a blow-off singles match down the line. Week 5. Roman escalates stakes. He hints that his loyalty lies with whoever carries the family legacy. Week 6 to 8 build to a pay-per-view singles match or a no DQ tag blow-off with promos, backstage vignettes, and a possible reunion attempt that is rebuffed, all culminating in a match that either heals the bond or splits the Yos permanently. Offer match concepts that maximize drama. Dog collar match, physical, personal, keeps the emotional brutality in the ring. Street fight, no rules, sells the visceral breakdown of family ties. Best of 3 falls with a gimmick fall. Add psychological storytelling with stakes for each fall. Explain how each stipulation raises the stakes emotionally and allows the performers to tell a long-form story in the ring and on the mic. That's our breakdown. Wrestling News WWE will continue to cover every angle. Backstage clips, promo breakdowns, and fan theories? Drop your take in the comments. Who's right? Is Jey's ambition justified or a betrayal? Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and share this with any wrestling fan who cares about legacy, family, and the messy heart of sports entertainment.